I'm a proud Igbo man. I am a very, very proud. I don't owe anybody apologies for being an Igbo man. No, I don't.
For those who think of eliminating the Igbos, they have to eliminate God first.
You hate Igbo people. Where you want to take start? Where you want to take start? Anywhere, if you turn left, then they there. Then you turn right, then they there. Even in your house, then they. In your village, then they. In your market, then they. In your street, then they. Anywhere you open your eye, you go to see Igbo people. Now you go to learn for nyash. You go to hate who God don't bless. You know they possible. You don't have any choice than to love them. Because if you hate them, now you go to drive for nyash. Because as anywhere, especially anywhere we good thing day, as they open your eye, you day. You want to enter shop, won't go buy something. Now Igbo person. Anyway, if you just turn yourself, if you go to church, Igbo people everywhere. So you can't hate who God is blessing. And you have no choice than to love them. What I go?
The Igbo man learned that the government has nothing for him. So he learned to survive on his own. I'm speaking for the average man on the street who grew up believing that he has no portion in Nigeria, which was what fed the Biafran spirit and the demand for Biafra even 50 years after the Civil War.
The Igbos have been marginalized. The template for Nigerian inequities was always trialed out against Indigo, and that is what has gone pan-Nigerian today. So there is no injustice in Nigeria that didn't start out being trialed out on Indigo in Nigeria. So if Indigo has gotten to the point where it could no longer stomach or bear the Nigerian excesses, I can hardly be heard. I no longer condemn anything anyone cares to do.
Welcome back to Local Journal, my people. Igbo sons and daughters, they don't come out to tell the whole world the lie where people they tell on top their head. You know, say they talk say if lie don't to tell, they go turn onto truth. And now the reason why they come out can't refute all this claim and all this lie thing where they talk on top their head. You know, say people they talk say anywhere where Igbo man go, I be Igbo people go. Say they like to they dominate, say they domineering. You know, say plenty Igbo haters, they don't talk say that their lifestyle nine be that. And this time Igbo people, the strong children of Igbo people, they don't come out to refute this claim, to tell the whole world say all these things where these people they talk on top their heads in a lie na be. Them talk say if you don't understand something, make you ask question, make you not just they assume they lie on top people head. Another one I make this Nollywood legend where they call Pet Edoshi and Kenneth Okonkwo come out, they tell people say now like this na be, say all the lies where they propagate against the Igbo, want to say they hate Igbo people, say they no go feel allow and continue like that. Then talk plenty things inside the video and they explain so many things inside the video so that una when you understand them and una when they like to they propagate fake news go feel understand, and so that una go feel know the whole truth, and so that the world no go believe all the fake news where they propagate against the Igbos. So I go play the video for now and I go watch and I go hear everything where they talk for inside the video. But before I play and for una, if today na be the first time they visit our channel, make you like, share and subscribe to our channel, and make you not forget to drop your own comment for inside the comment section. So make it allow now, make you watch the video.
The Igbo man wants to dominate you. The Igbo man wants to take you over. Let us be honest and speak truth to ourselves, so that God who created us will look at us and say, yes, these are my children. The average northerner does not like to operate beyond his natural habitat. Same applies to the westerner. Do your youth service in the East. Distinguish yourself. You get employed. You are even given a parcel of land. You are a Yoruba man, you abandon all that. You run back home. When an Hausa man, you do the same thing. An Igbo man picks up that employment and develops that parcel of land. Then you turn around and say he wants to dominate you. That's unfair to God who created all of us. God gave us talent, every one of us, right? You don't bury your talent and blame the other people. I'm an actor. We have Nollywood in Nigeria. The British colonized us and left us with English language as a lingua franca. What does that mean? The English language he left us was to enable us to communicate since we cannot talk in our various tribes and our various tongues, so we can communicate. But we are not, because we don't want to. Now, what is nationalism? In 1956, the Queen of England visited Nigeria. It was the Rolls Royce that belonged to Sir Louis Odumegwu Ojukwu that was used in taking the Queen round Lagos. I want you to quote me. He didn't ask Nigeria to give him a cover. No, he donated it. Lagos was the capital of Nigeria. And so everybody got to Lagos to be part of whatever was going on. You get a slice of the cake if you like. Because of political differences that have their reasons, by the way, our brothers who are Yorubas now turn around and say that we want to take over their land, we want to dominate them, we want to. The Igbo man never occupies anybody's land. The Igbo man is enterprising, that is his nature. He comes to your place, he begs you to permit him purchase a little parcel of land. You sell that parcel of land to him, he develops it. He wants to trade, so what does he do? He moves around the community. He finds out what the people need that they don't have access to. He sets up a small store and begins to sell those things. And before you know it, he expands that store. This is the Igbo man's life up to this moment. There is no part of the world you go to that you don't find Igbos. There's none. And by the way, wherever you find them, they're very progressive. Extremely. As a matter of fact, only a few days ago, it was announced on the CNN that of all the black immigrants to America, the most successful are the Igbos.
Igbo are agents of development, and they go about carrying development to anywhere they go to. I recall what Buba Mawa said when we were in a presidential campaign. Buba Mawa stood on a pulpit and said the only true Nigerians who believe in Nigeria, they are Igbo, because everywhere you will see them. And when you see them, they build their homes there and they live there and develop there. It was quite unfortunate that before 1966, our quest for developing anywhere we stay was manipulated and misconstrued to be a quest for domination. I am happy it's no longer in the minds of Nigerians to think in that pattern and in that formula. Because I remember one old man from Kanu. He said during the June 12th, when the Igbos left north, he couldn't find a part, I think Yakasai, he couldn't find one spare part he needed to repair his car. And he said, let's face it, we need each other. In this country, we need each other, especially in the Igbo, who are the agents of development. I told you before that what is threatening our unity now is the incompetence and corruption. What is happening in Lagos? Why are Igbos feeling uncomfortable? Because there are some people like Bayo Nonuga who will tell you Igbos are aliens in Lagos. Can you imagine? Aliens in Yoruba land. Somebody being an alien in his own country. Is that not the incompetence and corruption I'm talking about? Abuse of public power for private gain. If you cannot convince the Yorubas to vote for you when you are a Yoruba man, you have failed. If you need to vilify another ethnic group, these are the things that are bringing about the sentiments of marginalization and the instigation of people saying, let us have our own home if you cannot guarantee our safety in the general Nigerian country. And this is what I'm saying, that we must sit down to ensure that our country is built on equity, justice, and fairness. And you will see that every Nigerian will prefer to be a Nigerian. I am a movie actor. That's my primary constituency. Where we started Nollywood was in Lagos. And you know what? It was an Igbo film that was shot in Lagos. And the whole Nigerians accepted it. If they had anything against Igbo, they would not appreciate that movie, Living in Bondage. And that's actually remade my mind that, look, nobody is interested in marginalizing anybody. Spirit of excellence cannot be rejected, no matter where it comes from and from whoever it comes from.
Now, the Igbos have received serious bashing in Nigeria.
Just look at this.
In terms of marginalization. This is a country that has survived going to 50 years after the Civil War, and people were given £20 no matter how much you had in the bank, and they survived with that £20 and are still standing. These were people that were promised rehabilitation, reconciliation, reconstruction, and all those who are practicing the breach. 50 years after, we are still fighting in the parliament for a Southeast Commission to do those three things that were promised after the Civil War in 1970. This is a people who, in the last election, showed that they have the population to vote in a president for Nigeria. Now, recently, the gentleman who was championing Oduduwa Republic and who was incarcerated in a neighboring country has been released and is free and is traveled abroad. Now, Nnamdi Kanu, who was also championing the creation of Biafra, has been kidnapped, incarcerated, even after the courts have said that he has no case to answer. The Igbos see it as further telling them that they are second-class citizens in their own country, and there is a different treatment for them as compared to others. These same Igbos made their own contributions, which in no way you can say is inferior to the contribution of any other part of Nigeria for the independence of our country. These are people who are they are lucky that God created them with the spirit of enterprise. And you have seen what I've done with their £20. Go around Nigeria and tell me how many cities you will see that are as well developed as, even let's take the state capitals. Not to talk about going to the hinterland in Igbo land and see the mansions that enterprise has created. So the country has refused to use these people for the growth of the country's economy. If they allowed the Igbos to thrive and to influence others positively, rather than hounding them wherever they are, I think the country would have developed faster and better. Igbos created Lagos, Igbos created Abuja, Igbos created Kaduna, Kanu, most of the country, Port Harcourt. And when you have such people, it is the country to use, for the country to use them to the country's advantage and not to continue to suppress them. So we feel very, very unhappy in the Nigerian state. We are not begging for pittance. We are not begging for something that we don't deserve. We are not begging that what belongs to anybody should be given to us. No, give us the freedom to be equal partners with every member of this nation. Allow us to grow and thrive freely in our own country, and allow us to occupy positions that are valuable to every citizen of this country to occupy. So in a nutshell, we're asking for equity. We're asking for fairness. We're asking for justice in Nigeria. That's all. Nothing more than that. As long as we have these three, equity, fairness, justice, an Igbo man will thrive even in Iceland.
You know, Reuben Abati's statement that Ndi Igbo do not sell land to the outsiders, it's very unfortunate. It's unguarded, and I think it was meant particularly to malign Igbo with very ulterior motive. Let me start. My father was into real estate business. And before the war, a man who was not from my town bought a land, had his documents. After the war, the man did not know where the land was, did not have any documents. They told him my father was the honest man. Now point the land to him. He came to my father with gifts and all those. My father said, no, I remember you. I'll take you to your land anytime you are ready. My father took him to his land. And the man turned out to be a bank manager. And he told my father, so it is really true. We still have honest people. Yeah, he is now going to facilitate a loan for my father to improve his business. And that was how my father took loan from the bank and nationalized his transport business, which helped him to become one of the richest men in the town during our own time, because he sold land to somebody who is not from our town. And so when a man now comes to make statements that he's not versed in, then you will know that he has personal anti-Igbo mentality in his gene. Recall that when Nigeria got its independence, University of Nigeria was sited in Nsukka, my town. And that made it a town that everybody from Nigeria came into the land. And it's because they were accommodated. I was like, you had a lot of Yoruba, Hausa, coming to University of Nigeria. There were 3 universities then. You had University of Ibadan. They named it after Ibadan. You had Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. And then you had University of Nigeria. So would a town, would a people that have been pro-Nigeria from beginning begin to discriminate as to who to sell land to? Would a people whose article in trade is buying and selling begin to discriminate when they want to sell their land? When an Igbo man is dealing in business, he's looking at profit and loss, not where you come from. Now, if Igbo are doing well in real estate in Lagos and doing well in real estate in Abuja, where did they learn it from? They learned it from dealing in real estate from their own town, from their own place, because that is merely an expansion. You can't give what you don't have. Now, do you sell land to your own people? No. Everybody has land. If you are a man in Igbo land, you're entitled to a plot of land in your own land. So if there was any land sold by Igbo, it is sold to people who are not Igbo. And then, how can somebody ignorantly begin to make such statement? Reuben Abati simply celebrated his ignorance publicly. And let me tell you, he offended the legal profession, because in law, you don't condemn a people unheard. You cannot condemn a people without hearing from their side. He just said he borrowed a language from T.O.S. Benson without even knowing the context. And he ran to television and established it and asserted it as a fact. It's against the legal profession. And he condemned Igbo unheard. What he would have done is to get an Igbo expert to be educated or present him on the studio to talk on behalf of Igbo. He offended journalistic profession. Is either you are talking as a moderator or as a guest. When you are a moderator, your job is to bring opposing sides, interview two of them. They will give you their views. Then you allow the public to make up their opinion. Or you are a guest, and then you will be interrogated by the moderator, who will now be playing the devil's advocate to ask you cross-examination on the things you claim. But this is a man who just came on air, formed an opinion, and intimidated the journalists around him, and started saying it out without fair hearing and without allowing Igbo to examine what he's saying, and without allowing any other journalist to cross-examine him. He has displayed absolute hatred, absolute anti-Igbo mentality, and absolute ignorance of both legal and journalistic profession. No wonder Reuben Abati is the first presidential spokesperson that spoke an incumbent president, democratically elected president in Nigeria, to defeat. It has never happened. President Goodluck Jonathan, an incumbent elected, democratically elected government, elected president, Reuben Abati is the first presidential spokesperson to speak him to defeat. And he acknowledged that it was his own ignorance. You know, after the regime of Goodluck Jonathan, he wrote a piece, "Is Aso Villa bewitched?" And I said, because he will plan everything and think that what he's going to say is going to make a point, that everybody will love it. And we thought that everybody will turn against what he's saying. No, Aso Villa is not bewitched. The only person that is playing the role of a witch here is Reuben Abati. When he was the presidential spokesperson, he was ignorant of what he was doing. He was incompetent. And then he's blaming witches and wizards. Witches and wizards have suffered in this country. And that was how he spoke his president, incumbent, to defeat. I don't want to remember how the only politician he accepted to be deputy governor to is a man who is internationally, wanted for some drug dealing issues. And this is what a man who is purporting to be a man of integrity, this is the person he agreed to be his deputy governor. As a politician, he has failed woefully and will continue to fail. And he should stop living his disaffection of politics because of his failure, his failure in politics. He should know where to carry such a disappointment to, not to vent his unruly anger on Igbo people. And you know what? They gave him an opportunity to withdraw his statement or make amends. I saw Ojiogbe trying to tell him it is not good to use one brush to condemn a people. I say he's unapologetic about it. Let him go and look at his ugly face and character in the mirror, and let him know whether Igbo cares about apologies from such a people, such a creature that has continually failed. If I can remember, it's the name Ndoka that is paying his salaries in Arise Television. If he hates Igbo like that, doesn't want to have anything to do with anything Igbo, he first of all resign from Arise and stop collecting anything from Igbo and stop painting the Yoruba in bad light. So what Reuben Abati said was unfortunate, uncalled for. He reflected his own anti-Igbo hatred, and he will be held accountable. And like he himself said, he said he's unapologetic about it, just as I am totally unapologetic about what I'm saying about him. The thing he was quoting, it has been established that the man is even an in-law to Igbo people. And the content of it is that when the man wanted to buy land, they told him, no, you are our in-law. We will not sell land to you, we will give you land anytime you want to come to build. So people's goodness, because of his anti-Igbo posture, is now being misconstrued. The man was actually saying how happy he is being an in-law to Nnamdi. And if you saw Theo's Benson, you saw that he continued dressing in a cute form. The wife will make sure that he comes out best with that his, and he was just looking cute until he passed on. And so when you want to talk about it, people, be very careful. He said he doesn't have apologies. Yes, that's how evil people do. But I want to remind you, the evil that men do live after them is in the internet. We will always remember that evil he has spoken and done against Nnamdi until he retraces it and withdraws it. Nnamdi sells lands to anybody that can afford it. Come to my place. I'm the son of a man who dealt in real estate. And once you can afford the money, you have any choice of land you want. We are the custodians of University of Nigeria. Every Nigerian is welcome in our home, even before we were born.
I'm a proud Igbo man. I am a very, very proud. I don't owe anybody apologies for being an Igbo man. No, I don't. So whatever conversations you may have been having, yours, insist that we are proud people. When the Queen of England came to Nigeria in 1956, she was driven around Lagos in a Rolls Royce. Correct with that Rolls Royce, he was the richest African then. And when the Muti were the Queen of England, the Lord God and Megasa, Igana Buckingham Palace, Iga Webe say Queen. He may put a package US here. Can I just tell you a band and one on your nature? The first mathematician Nigeria produced, Dr. Chikobi, on your nature. Onye computer wizard, Tata, ndị America manara kwaka. Anyị charge akwụkwọ na Zaria, and onye Ọnịcha ka ọ bụ. The first person with a gold to Olympics, bụ onye Igbo, ndị Ọchịọma Ajunwa, right? So I want to check if you may in the country, didn't with the honor and pride to Nigeria and Abundi Igbo. So you can do anything you like to try to suppress them. You're wasting your time. You can't suppress them. You can go or where it be nothing. Mbasia Kembe is the biggest hotel in Lagos. I don't need go where. At the Grand Number, if you are Ibonino, what are the Muleko Kandianambra? It is God designed it like that. Uno company bata. Ana tweak on your check and then I tweak on the Kandianambra. There's nothing you can do about it. Nothing. God has designed it that way. You ought to go.